Hello, hello, hello. Welcome, welcome, welcome to another edition of CAV HQ Live. I am your host, CAVBOSS. I hope everybody is doing well tonight. As always, we'll give everybody a few minutes to show up. Everybody wants to be just a little late. Fashionably late. Dictator march going on. Well, hopefully everybody is having a good Wednesday. Hi there, Ilmarin. How are you? Giving everybody a few minutes to come trickling in. It has Wednesdayed real hard. Well, that's not good. For sure. Well, I hope it wasn't anything too drastic. Everybody hopefully kept all their fingers and toes. Just life. Yeah, I hear you. Yeah, I'm in the process of building a retaining wall at the house, and the company delivered the bricks this morning, and I was up at the gym at the time, so my wife accepted the delivery, and I got back and I got to looking at the ones on the top, and I'm like, I think there's at least two different colors here. So I pulled some out. Sure enough, there's two different ones mixed up in this deal. So I called them and said, "Hey, you guys messed up. You sent me bricks from two different types." And they're like, "Well, there's some color differentiation between them." I'm like, "No." I said, "I looked these up on the web many times before I ordered them." I said, "I ordered sienna. You sent me sienna and another one called autumn blend." So they're like, "Well, how many?" I said, "I don't know. There's 3 pallets worth of bricks here. I don't know how many of them are wrong." So they're like, "Well, just go ahead and sort them out and then let us know how many you need us to bring." I'm like, "Great, whatever." So that was my little drama for the morning. I just figured I know there's some that are right. So as I start building the wall, I'll just sort them as I go. Oh, you got your order in? Good, good. The Kestrel's arms fit really nicely on the Javan torso to mock up a fight. Well, good. Glad to hear that. Well, as if you might not have gathered, I got the new building kit ready. So we're going to be building one tonight. I've got one built already and primered. So I don't know if I'll get to start painting on it. But we'll put this together tonight. Kind of show everybody what it's going to be. Kit wise. But it's got 4 sheets in it. Got 2 of the mat boards for the trim pieces, and then 2 of the MDF boards, the actual structure. We added a few pieces in here, so if you want to put yeah, the Thunderbird is very chunky. He's a big boy. But we added a helicopter landing pad if you want to add that into the top. There's also a couple of billboards that I had some pieces for that you want to have a billboard on top of the building. So those are there. Okay, so, well, it's 6 after, so let's get started. Set the trim pieces aside. Work area here. Need a little glue. Okay. All right, so first off, we're going to need the tops and the sides. Out. What do the other factions use to designate landing zones? You know, I would imagine that it's probably pretty much the same. We kind of had a conversation about this before, that form meets function, and I would imagine that their versions of that's probably not too different from ours. Hey, they're staying there, buddy. Yeah, I would say that they probably have a different symbol, or if they put anything on there at all from that side of it. Yes. Possibly. Maybe I didn't get that. There. Side for now. Yeah, well, and we're going to have some more specialty ones too. This one is kind of a generic apartment building or office complex, whichever way you want to go with it. So, you know, and I don't want to get, I know James is all big on big sci-fi and everything, but you know, I tried to keep kind of a sci-fi future look to it without being too crazy, and we probably will do some crazy ones down the road, but it gets our 4 ends out. Okay, touch up the pieces just a little bit. Oh, I would imagine they are very modular and factory constructed. Certainly from the modular side of it, they're going to be, you get a chance, I don't know if you ever looked at any of it, look up how an M1 tank is built. Everything, the transmission, the engine, all of that, they're all modules. And they literally can, out in the field, change the transmission in like 2 hours or something like that. But a lot of the system on those are built that way. They're gonna want to be able to swap stuff out quick. I was kind of planning on trying to paint this kind of the way James has been painting on his buildings. I don't know if it'll work as well for this. Yeah, I would think that they almost come apart. I mean, basically how they come in the kits, you know, that they can kind of pull those off wherever they want to. So, okay, now on this particular model, you have to take one side, start with the two ends first. I'm sorry, not the side, the top. Okay, so we've got the one little narrow piece here. This goes on the end with the I don't think, I mean, it would depend on, I don't know that reinforcements would come. I would think that the reinforcements would come already put together, ready to go with the pilots. I could see them bringing in replacements that are still on pallets that they put together in the field. Good. I always like to try to put my glue on with I use this as a little nail or brad, but you can use a brush or something like that to control it. All right. So that. As always, there's an order you have to do these in, or pieces won't go together. Where the eggs are. And it doesn't take very much. This MDF soaks this stuff up. Okay, so once you have the two ends on, now you want to set it on to one side. So here. Gnat buzzed my ear. Oh, something's in the air this week. Gnats been everywhere. All right. This one goes on that. The arrow goes on there. There's only one way for them to go. Goes right in there. All right, now this one gets a little trickier. The rest of our end pieces now. Goes out. Sticking tonight. There are 5 of these that you're going to need for the different ends on the floors on that particular side. While I'm here, I'm going to cut out these 2 pieces for the top because that's the only thing left on this one, and I can get rid of it. Take that. Click. I'm a little saturated there. Okay. A little better there. Orangey. Okay, so now all you do is go through and put these on. Fine here. Let's see, make sure those right. It goes down. Big one, then little one. Okay, and then the last one you don't have to put on yet because it snaps in different. So now after you have those all in there, it's put some glue on here for the other side. Way around. And this may look a little daunting, lining up all these pegs, but it's really not. Go together pretty easy. They have a little bit of give to them. Move them around just a little bit while you're kind of go around a little bit, a little glue here, a little glue there. It'll dries, it'll nap this one on, and like I said, you just got to kind of start on the flat end here. Goes in there. My way around the top. So, and then just kind of these around just a little bit, line them up. So, together for a second, let it get good and set. Glue soak in. Then once you have that, now you can go ahead and put your piece in there. That's part of the wall here. Sure which set was going to glue there. This goes in right like that. All right. So that gets the main structure all put together with the 4 walls. Said goes together pretty easy, pretty quick. Like I had noted last week, I did decide to go ahead and knock the windows out on these. I think it'll be easier to paint. Here's an early prototype one that I left these in, but now to try to go in and paint inside those or whatever is going to be a pain. Then I decided I did the inkjet printer and printed out the windows, but again, if you put those underneath there, now trying to go back and paint and dry brush and everything, you got to really be careful with the windows. So I decided to go ahead and cut these out. That way you can either leave them empty if you want to, or you can either you'll be able to download the sky windows like I showed you there, and you can glue those on the back after you've painted it. Or I like to use, you can get like marker paper, vellum paper. It's kind of semi-translucent, but it's white. You can glue that on the back, and they're really, really good for if you want to light them up. You can put a light inside here, and that it really shines through that paper. All right, let's finish getting our pieces here for the main structure. These are some pieces here. Cut something off here. Finger. Show you where all these go here in just a second. And these, if you're interested in them, this will be going up on Monday. I've got to do some photography on them after I get this one painted. And this particular kit will retail for $11.99. And it's a pretty good size kit. In game terms, it's a level 6 building, elevation level. All right, this is the kind of the piece that goes on the floor. We'll go ahead and cut it out and get it off the tray. Yeah, we'll have, and I'll be adding more to it. I've got several in the process, and I was like, well, I'll wait, you know, and have more of them, but I decided just to go ahead and get this one down. And with the extra pieces, you'll be able to, and another thing that I'm working on is kind of a generic sheet of greebles. They'll have all kinds of little things on them that you can cut out and add to your building if you want to. For all the buildings. But, you know, I've got, there's a water purification plant, there's a CAV bay, you know, there'll be the fortifications. Lots of stuff coming. Got at least one really big skyscraper building. Skyscraper buildings look really cool on the map. The problem is when you have a lot of tall buildings, especially if they get close, they're really hard to get your hands around. That's something you have to take into consideration when you're. There's been a couple of really cool cities put up here lately with a lot of STL files, which are great. I mean, they're awesome looking, but you get too crowded, it gets kind of hard to move anything. Out. You started without me. Well, I'll tell you, man. All right, everything up here. Clean these up a little bit. At least now that you're here, I haven't started painting. So if I get started painting, you can walk me through your technique. We'll try it. I don't know if it'll work as well on this type of building because of the more raised detail. The only thing I'm kind of worried. Oh, that's going to be on the inside. Okay, now we will need, there's a couple of pieces on our detail board that we're going to need for this part of the build. There's actually 3 pieces. There are these are the, I'll show you in a second. I hate this knife. That one. 2, and punch the camera regularly. Well, that I can't. I don't know. I can't tell you. Punching that. I don't know that I want to punch my cameras. Too bad. All right. Cut those pieces off. And don't tease me about sticking my tongue out. That's how I concentrate. When you know my brain is in overdrive, the tongue comes out. Okay, so what these pieces are, these are the ceilings and the bottoms. So these pieces, a little glue here on the back side of them, out on the backs of the tabs here. So you can put just a little bit on the edge there where it's going to butt up to it. And all you do on these is see where the notches are there, deal, but they just slide in here. So and possible. And that's puts the bottoms on there. We use the mat board because that keeps them a lot thinner, a lot smoother. You're basically just plugging a hole, so it doesn't have to be anything that's incredibly fancy. And there's 3 of those. And then stick through that. That's all right. Covered up. I forgot those are very thin pieces on the top of those little windows. I should have put the tops on. So it's okay. It gets covered up with the try to make my kits as forgiving as possible. Get in a hurry. Try not to do it on this one. You won't even hardly see these pieces, but this way at least it keeps the bottom, so you can't, if you leave the windows open, you're not looking through the floors. All right, and that's what these pieces are. These are the tops. So on these, we just want to put a little, these go on the top, so you want to put a little on the ends here. So, and then a little edge that's going to go front. Okay. And then these just do the same thing. They just snap in there. So, voila, we have our top. And then, like I said, I put a little glue on the top there, so I'll push that little piece back up that broke. You'll see in just a minute, those will be hit up. Main thing on these pieces, you want to make sure that they're flush on both sides because there's nothing. Okay, so that gets our top of our roofs on. That gets our floors there for the pieces that are sticking out. This is a little piece that sticks out on the other end that acts as a overhead protection for people coming out in the weather. This end, it just goes in right there. Here's our rings from earlier cut out, so go ahead and stick those on. Glue on the bottom of them and glue. And then line those up there. Ring. Oh. All right, there's that. And then we have these little architectural detail things here that kind of go with the design that go in the middle of the side windows, end windows. A little glue there, and a little there. And snap those dudes in there. We'll go to this glue. At that at a little different angle where I can see. Yeah, there we go. And there's 5 on each side. And these are just to kind of go with the design on the corners where those stick out on the corner pieces. And they help reinforce the ends. Flip her over and do it again. One after another. Could be worse. I could put like 20 of these, 30. It is. The new kit we're getting ready to release will be available Monday. Monday. All right. So that's all the MDF parts to it right there. Now it's detail time. All right. Cut these. 106. I wish I get 169. No, these are $11.99. Do those ceiling rings fit the bunker turrets? They do not. Well, I didn't think, turrets on apartment buildings may not be the best way to go to keep innocent people from being killed. It would enforce the And while it's on my mind, I know that I brought it up a little bit on James' show Monday night, but the Christmas show on Saturday will no longer be going. He's got several things that have come up in life that he is having to deal with and keep track of everything else, and it's just not. So rather than us keep canceling every Saturday or me trying to fill in at the last second, this will be the way to go for now. Hopefully we can get something down the road back going for him when things get in a little better shape. Me too. I hope that it's all, it's the stuff sometimes you have to deal with. But he'll still be working on things, so as stuff progresses, I'll have plenty of previews here on Wednesday nights. Maybe have him pop in every once in a while. I did mean to bring up the Starhawk 7 pieces. I forgot. Just have to wait. I've got one more piece that's printing anyway, so. There. Quick little thing just to make sure our tabs are gone. These you have to be kind of careful with. Mat board likes to catch on things. And this, you don't have to do it. I mean, they cut pretty close. This is 310 even. But we'll put a few of them on here and I'll show you afterwards what we've got. Before we run out of time. First. Right. Glue these on while we got it here and we'll go from there. All right, so first off, we want to put our lower floor windows on here. There's only one way these things can go, and they're all squared up. So as long as you make everything flush, you'll line it up just right. You want to do the sides first because the ends go over the edges, kind of cap it off. So okay. So like I said, as long as you flush this up, you'll be golden. Because these windows, the inside windows are offset just a little bit. Give them some depth. So you want that mat board, those little things to kind of fit as close to the centers as you can. But it locks all in there, and as you're flush, that one on, and we'll put this one on. This has a little tab too that goes out in the right there where the awning is. That'll line that up. Be a little more careful with the glue here because nothing covers that up now. All right, so you got your two edges on. Then you want to put your ends on. And like I said, those will cap off our side pieces. Glue on there. Honey on the edge there, so those will all sync up. Again, just push it up and And was right here. Come on, glue, hang in there. Now these on this particular end there's a little bit of gap between each floor, so you want to make sure you're flush to the bottom side. I wouldn't spray paint it and put the paper paint. Well, I'll show you here. I primer. I put it all together and then primer the whole thing. Because this is matte board. This is, I guess it's kind of paperish, but it'll take primer. Okay, so on these, on the ends, that's what these pieces are here for. These are the little windows for the ends. And there's a big side and a little side. You'll see how they line together. But you just snap those in on each window in between the little deal like there. So that puts our windows on there, like so. Okay. So you'll repeat that for each floor. Same thing on the back here. And I just go in there on the all right, I'm getting in a little bit of a hurry to finish up before we get too late. And just line that up with that centerpiece and the windows, and it'll slide right in there, and gotta push it up just a little. Let's come up just a little bit more. But they just go around the edge of the window. So that. And then on the side, it's got these bigger, longer pieces that go. You have a flat piece that's on the very top, and then the others just alternate between small, big, small, big. And just flush it up with the bottoms there. Goes around the edge windows. And this way, these cover up all the pegs from putting the MDF together. Okay, they give it a little more pizzazz and they cover it up so you don't see those. Okay, and then you just would continue on around and do all that. You've got this piece here that goes up on the top. And just add up right on there. All right. So let me show you here what we've got. So you've got, so here's the building all put together. Hopefully it's going to be a little harder to see because it's all been primered because I was hoping to paint it. But you can see I just put it all together and primered it because I can always go back now and glue the windows in after I'm totally done. But that once all those pieces are put in there, there's some door pieces that go right in the doors. A couple of pieces that go up here. Then it's got the baseboard here still for it, and it actually has now a helipad cut out. Let me show you on the one that I just cut out for it. That you can pop out if you want to, and it's got some detail on it. So if you want to paint it up or whatever, the hull will be covered up when you set the building on top of it. But you can take it, and it'll just sits on top of the piece up here, and with those two pieces, it raises it up. So if you want to put that on there, you can, like that. Build it with the helipad on it. It also comes with a couple of billboards. So if you want to have some billboards, if it's an office building or something, you can put some on there. So one on each corner or whatever. And there's nothing on them, but you can cut out, you know, something that you print out or something, shrink down and actually put little ads on there. And then this will go on here like so. And this has got it's got a flower bed piece here on the front. You can go in, and I'm gonna, after I get it all painted up, I'm gonna take little clumps of green and tag in there on the top. So that's it is. Not a whole lot to it. There's a little hatch right here if they want to. So but of course you'll cover it up if you put the helipad over it. But no, these are, I mean, you could make these say whatever you want them to be, elevator tops if you wanted them. I just figured they're kind of like intake, outtake for the environmental systems. And you could always cut a little piece of the leftover from the MDF board if you want to have a piece up there or something like that. There's where you got. Voila. Pretty easy kit to put together. I think once they're painted up, they'll look really, really cool. Yeah, it's at this scale to really make something that looked really good without looking like something out of the 50s. I just think it was that big a deal. And you could always say one of these little X's But I think it's a good compromise. I think it's got a little modern look to it, a little sci-fi look to it. And they'll be really cool. I mean, if you end up getting multiple ones, you can build, you know, entire complexes. If you wanted to, with a little work, you could actually stack these on top of each other one. Come up with some kind of an in-between detail to go on them. But they're just the right size that you could stack them. So you could go as tall as you wanted to. Well, you could. I mean, it's how you want to look at it. I don't know that. I mean, there'll be some other things that we come out with, but I think that we're working with MDF, so the more you can stay with 90s, the better off you are. But by the same token, everybody's not going to go out of their way to make really weird shaped buildings, especially on frontier worlds or something like that. Everything's going to be very modular, very stack up, almost like building with storage containers, and that's an idea for a building that I want to do is kind of how they would take storage containers together. So I think that'll be something that'll be kind of cool, and the scale that we're working with too. I mean, it is what it is. Each their own. Yeah, there's some angles to it. There's these pieces that are sticking out. I think it looks like sci-fi, high tech. The world is full of low-tech buildings. Give us high-tech. Well, it is what it is. Sorry if you don't like it. The great thing, you can vote with your wallet. All right, folks, that's going to do it for a night. I am headed home out of here. So thank you for showing up, and we will see you next week. Have a good weekend. Have a good CAV weekend. Talk to you later. Thanks.